Today is Friday, April 4th, and this is your forecast for the central United States, and we can't really seem to catch a break here. Once again, the threat for severe weather and flooding rains for much of the middle of the country. Let's get right to it. Looking at the map here across the United States, we've got an area of low pressure traveling along a nearly stationary front. It's this area of low pressure that's giving the little extra oomph to get the severe weather going. So I think right along and north of this front is where we're going to see the majority of the damaging winds, large hail, and the threat for tornadoes. So that exists basically from the northeast corner of Texas up through Arkansas and maybe a sliver there of western Tennessee. Outside of that, by the way, we're still going to have flooding rains possible. The very same areas that had some flooding, and there are still a lot of flood warnings in effect for creeks and streams and rivers. So if you live in a flood prone area and you've been watching that water coming up, any additional rain tomorrow and even into Saturday, even though the rain will be gone, you're going to want to keep a close eye on those flood areas very much into Saturday at least. And then things may be settling down here later in the weekend. 56 today in Grand Rapids, 52 in Detroit. We got a high around 50 in Chicago with some showers coming in. A little bit of rain developing in Cleveland. Heavy rain possible today from Cincinnati to Louisville to St. Louis. Some severe thunderstorms possible in western Tennessee over toward Memphis, and then maybe even as far east as Nashville. Look at those temperatures. So you're on the warm side of that front. It is summer. You get north of that front and it's spring. So we're now getting a bit of a clash in the middle of the country between the two seasons of spring and summer. A little ahead of the game because winter's way up there to the north right now, up into the northern plains. Well, that's where it is now, but as we go forward in time, that cold air is going to settle over the Great Lakes. So expect a cool down here for much of next week, and it looks like that's going to take us through the middle part of April. Cooler than normal temperatures, and you see that eventually taking shape here early next week in Chicago as well. Very warm for Charlotte to Atlanta, where we have highs in the upper 80s for this afternoon. More like low 80s, even some upper 70s along the coast from Wilmington down to Savannah. We got even some 90s around Tampa this afternoon. 85 and kind of cloudy today in New Orleans. A chance for some scattered thunderstorms there in Dallas. Just north of you is where I think the threat for severe weather is going to be mostly concentrated. So we are really warm here in the southeast through at least the weekend, but then a much different weather pattern settles in. And look at that, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, our high temperatures really on either side of just 60 degrees, a good 20 or more, 25 degrees in some cases, colder than where we will be this weekend. 75 with some clouds around this morning in Fort Lauderdale. It's breezy, but it just gets more windy as the day goes on, and those winds will be really gusty right into this evening. It looks like that 82 with the warm wind should feel pretty comfortable, but I think it's if you're right on the water, it's going to feel a bit on the cooler side. It looks like temperatures will stay in the 80s here through the weekend, mid 80s on Monday, seeing those temperatures sliding back into the 70s for the middle of next week. Okay, guys, that is your Friday morning weather update. I hope everyone has a fantastic weekend, and remember that as long as you want there to be, there will always be a 100% chance of good things.